Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here.
Houston, we've had a problem.
Houston, we've had a problem here.
We've had a main beam bus unable.
The Red Nightmare. Why Mars Will Kill Us. From God of War to Dead World. For as long as humanity has had eyes to look up, we have known it. It was never truly discovered, for it has always been there, watching us. Ancient Egyptian astronomers charted its retrograde motion across the sky as far back as the 2nd millennium BC, calling it Horus of the horizon. To the Babylonians, it was Nergal, the king of conflict. To the Romans, it was Mars, the god of war. Its blood-red hue was a warning. But the true nature of this world remained a mystery until 1610. That was the year Galileo Galilei turned his telescope toward the void and realized that this wandering light was a world, a physical place. By the 19th century, astronomers like Giovanni Schiaparelli and Percival Lowell gazed at the surface and saw lines, canali. They imagined irrigation channels, dying civilizations, and lush vegetation. We convinced ourselves that Mars was a second Earth just waiting for us. We were wrong. When the Mariner probes flew by in the 1960s, the dream of a verdant paradise died. They revealed a cratered, dead world. Today, billionaires and agencies call it Plan B, a backup drive for civilization, but there is a brutal difference between science fiction and physics. Mars is not a new home waiting to be occupied. It is a radioactive, freezing, suffocating desert. Colonizing it won't just be hard, it will be the single greatest engineering challenge in the history of our species. And many who go will never come back. The tyranny of mechanics. The first enemy is not the planet itself, but the void between us, from 55 to 400 million kilometers. You cannot simply point a rocket and ignite the engines. We are prisoners of orbital mechanics. Earth and Mars are like two runners on a circular track, moving at different speeds. The ideal path, the Hohmann transfer orbit, only opens once every 26 months. Miss that window and you are grounded for 2 years. And once the journey begins, you face a 7 to 9 month voyage through the deep vacuum. This is where the human body begins to fail. On Earth, gravity fights us, keeping our bones strong. In 0G, that battle ends. Astronauts lose bone density at an alarming rate. Muscles atrophy. Fluids rush to the head, crushing the eyeballs and distorting vision, a condition known as spaceflight-associated neuroocular syndrome. By the time the first colonists approach the red planet, they will be physically fragile, partially blinded, and exhausted. And the most dangerous moment of the mission is yet to come. The scale problem. NASA engineers called the descent onto Mars the 7 minutes of terror. The Martian atmosphere is a cruel paradox. It is thick enough to burn your ship alive with friction, yet too thin to slow you down effectively with parachutes. To date, the heaviest object we have ever landed there weighed about 1 metric ton. For a sustainable colony, we need to land payloads of 20, 50, perhaps 100 tons. Parachutes are useless at this scale. We need a technology that barely exists, supersonic retropropulsion. We must fire rocket engines against the wind at supersonic speeds while plummeting toward the ground. If the engines hesitate for a millisecond, the colony becomes a crater. Living in a gas chamber. Let's assume they land. They open the airlock. What is waiting for them? The atmosphere is 95% carbon dioxide. The atmospheric pressure is less than 1% of Earth's. This is the Armstrong limit. If you were to remove your helmet, you wouldn't just suffocate. The pressure is so low that the saliva in your mouth, the moisture in your lungs, and the water in your eyes would boil instantly. But the silent killer comes from above. Earth has a molten core that generates a magnetic shield, protecting us. Mars died billions of years ago. Its core stopped and its shield vanished. The surface is bathed in galactic cosmic rays and solar flares. Radiation levels can be 50 times higher than on Earth. To survive, colonists won't live in the beautiful glass domes we see in concept art. That is a fantasy. They will live like moles. They will be buried under meters of regolith or ice to block the radiation. Life on Mars will be claustrophobic, dark, and underground. And then there is the ground itself. We have discovered that Martian soil is rich in perchlorates, toxic salts that attack the human thyroid. The dust is electrostatically charged. It clings to everything. It ruins seals. It clogs machinery. And if inhaled, it is poisonous. On Mars, the very ground you walk on is trying to kill you. Sustainability and the silence. Logistics is a nightmare. You cannot bring a lifetime supply of food and water from Earth. Survival depends on ISRU, in situ resource utilization. We must mine dirty ice from the ground to drink. We must strip oxygen from the CO2 atmosphere. We must wash the toxic soil to grow potatoes that will likely taste of despair. And then there is the isolation. Light travels at a finite speed. A cry for help takes up to 20 minutes to reach Earth. The reply takes another 20. 40 minutes of silence during a catastrophe. It gets worse. Every 2 years, an event called solar conjunction occurs. The sun sits directly between Earth and Mars. For 2 weeks, the interference is total. No internet, no voice, no data. The colonists will be completely cut off. If a system fails, if a plague breaks out, they will be more alone than any human being has ever been in history. Engineering hope and the terraforming myth. But of course, where there's a problem, scientists are hunting for a solution. Projects like NASA's Kilopower aim to create small nuclear reactors to provide reliable energy for bases on Mars or the Moon. There are plans to build habitats using autonomous robots that utilize Martian regolith as raw material, 3D printing thick walls to shield us against the radiation. In agriculture, we are already looking into carrying adaptable seeds and even fish larvae to jumpstart controlled food chains. And regarding transport, the plan is to build a base on the Moon first, a lunar outpost capable of producing fuel to supply our rockets, serving as a massive depot and waypoint on the road to Mars. Logically, this idea faces all the same problems we discussed, just much closer to home. And of course, we cannot forget the ultimate dream: terraforming, transforming Mars into a planet more like Earth. Elon Musk has suggested detonating nuclear bombs over the red planet's poles to vaporize the ice caps. The theory is that this would release massive amounts of CO2, thickening the atmosphere and warming the planet, making it slightly more hospitable for humans. It sounds like a science fiction script, and it is. Even if it worked initially, the physics is unforgiving. Without a magnetic field to protect this new atmosphere, the gases released by the explosions would be quickly stripped away by solar winds, and the heat would dissipate into the void. We cannot simply bomb a dead planet back to life. Ethical dilemmas for the first Martians. Now imagine adding babies and children to this scenario. We may accept the brave pioneers who willingly risk their lives to conquer the red planet, but colonization implies raising the next generation. It means children born on an alien world, exposed to an extremely hostile environment without ever having a choice. Will they grow properly in low gravity? Will the radiation rewrite their DNA? We are not just engineering ships, we are gambling with human biology. The voice of reason. Lethal radiation, toxic dust, absolute isolation, temperatures dropping to minus 153 degrees Celsius or 225 degrees Fahrenheit. So why go? Why spend trillions of dollars and risk human lives to inhabit a frozen hellscape? Because Earth is a single point of failure. An asteroid, a nuclear war, a super pandemic, and the human story ends. Mars is our insurance policy. Or simply because humans go to places where they shouldn't be. It's part of our nature for one reason or another. It's about the challenge. Okay, it's a beautiful speech, but let's face the facts. Mars was not made for humans, and there is nothing to justify inhabiting it right now. Not even the idea of having a backup planet. Today, it seems far easier to prevent a climate apocalypse, avoid nuclear war, and create technologies to protect humanity from asteroid impacts and devastating pandemics than to create a minimally habitable environment on Mars. In light of all this, we can conclude that merely visiting Mars will already be the massive challenge of the coming decades, but wanting to colonize it now would be in fact a colossal mistake. Rushing this dream could turn it into a nightmare. Just imagine a catastrophic failure putting hundreds of lives at risk with absolutely no possibility of rescue or help from Earth. Colonizing Mars is possible, yes, but as a long-term project. It demands monumental leaps in technology, medicine, agriculture, and above all, time. If we use our creativity and our drive to explore the cosmos to care for Earth first, guaranteeing our existence here, we will have plenty of time to conquer other worlds in the future. When Mars finally becomes an inhabited planet, it will be by humans who know how to reach for the stars while keeping their feet on the ground.